Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Now, George Clooney, you respect George Clooney, don't you? I'm often mistaken for him on the street. People will be like, hey, you're that guy. And I'm like, yeah, daily comedy news. And they're like, no, you're the guy from ER. You're George something. And I'm like, no, that's not me. But we're often confused for each other. He spoke to Vanity Fair about wonderful dramatic actor Adam Sandler. And I respect the heck out of George Clooney because he speaks the truth here. And I'm excited. Clooney is working with Sandler on a film called J. Kelly. And Clooney says of Sandler's performance, this film, more than any film Adam has done, shows what a beautiful, heartfelt, soulful actor he is. So we're getting more dramatic Adam Sandler, which I love. I think he's one of the best. He's terrible at comedy. All his comedy movies are really awful. But dramatic actor Adam Sandler, I'm in. Clooney said, I kept telling the cast, don't call him Sandman. Don't talk to him like he's just some goofy comedian. He's actually a really beautiful, wonderful actor. And I agree, no sarcasm. You've heard me say this before. Now, this next paragraph, I'm reading the text here, and it depends on the spin. Stay with me. Clooney said, because of what his paycheck is, which is doing big, goofy comedies, when he does these other beautiful, uncut gems kinds of movies, it reminds people of that. And then the phrase, I don't know where to put the verbal spin on it, I would read it as, he's not just a good comedian, but I suspect Clooney said it. He's not just a good comedian. But no, anyway, J. Kelly in theaters November 14th, streaming on Netflix December 5th. From Surfer.com, your home for comedy news, Tom Segura apparently was in a surf fight. The source for this, Tom Segura, who says, I got into a surf fight. Pretty good source. He explains it was over a wave. I was going to take a wave, and this guy was like, that's mine. I go, what are you talking about? I go to paddle out to it, and he flipped out. He pulled out a switchblade. He swung at me with it, scraped the side of my face. I hit him. I don't think he surfed away. He kind of floated for a minute, and then I left. Wife Christina was wondering if the guy's dead. Segura said, I guess. I didn't see anything in the paper. He had a switchblade in his shorts. Did this story happen exactly like that? I don't know. Marc Maron was on the Bad Friends podcast with Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee. Maron started talking about somebody from Austin, Texas. I don't know who he could have possibly meant. Maybe some sort of podcaster, perhaps a guy that likes MMA. Who knows who he was even talking about, because Maron did not say who he was referring to. So let's see if we can parse Maron's words here on the Bad Friends podcast. Maron on his own feed last week dropped that appearance at the 92nd Street Y with Jim Gaffigan. At the time of this recording, I'm about halfway through it. Listened to it while walking the dog the other night. Maron was great, and Jim is fine, but I've brought this up before, especially when he's hawking the bourbon. Jim, on stage, performing written material, clearly funny. Any other environment, Jim's not that funny, and he doesn't even sound that much fun. Listen to him with Maron. You can hear Maron. I think you could wake up at 3 a.m. and Maron's just funny. I'm not sure if you woke up Jim at 3 a.m, he would nail it. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It just is, and I'm observing it because I have a podcast. I'm in the basement. So we've got Jim Gaffigan's super cool bourbon thing, the John Mulaney book club, which is even more cool. And now Jimmy Fallon is bringing back his book club, which is called Fallon Book Club. They worked on that for hours to come up with that title. Fallon went on social media and posted, Fallon Book Club is back, and I'm looking for your suggestions. Comment below, hashtag Fallon Book Club. Now, Fallon started his super cool book club back in 2021, so John Mulaney's is a total ripoff. Back then, fans voted on a final pick from a list of 6 contenders. In June, Stephen Colbert, whose show was canceled probably because of this, launched the Late Show Book Club. I wouldn't get too attached to the Late Show Book Club because I doubt CBS is going to keep that around. Mulaney's book club is titled Mulaney Reads, which is somehow an even worse title. I almost had a breakdown there. My computer, all of a sudden, it was like audio input not working and the mic wasn't working. So I restarted the computer and then I brought this file back up that you're listening to now and it was blank. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because I just did 6 minutes and now turn in at Bill Burr. Come on, computer, you got to work. Anyway, the file was still there. That's the 6 minutes you just heard. This is session 2. Bill Burr was on Vulture probably 2 weeks ago now, and I'm still picking away at that. Such a good interview. Burr said, one of the funniest things ever is that so many of my bits are online, which is great promotion to sell tickets, but the names of the jokes, they name them. Like, that's not the name of the joke. That's not the perspective of the joke. I've seen people teach comedy classes saying, you see what he's doing here? It bothered me at first. Then I'm just like, you know what? What do I care? The songs I listened to for 40 years, and I thought they were about something, and I hear the artist go, like, no, it wasn't. I just saw something. I don't know if it's true. But that Buffalo Springfield song that goes, Stop Children, What's That Sound? Everybody thought it was about Vietnam, and the band goes, no, it's just sort of about this little rock club in L.A. And it's like, oh, I thought your song was about what I cared about. The topic turned to political candidates appearing on podcasts. Burr said, I remember the first time I saw a president go on The Tonight Show, I thought it was cheapening the office. They never did that. They used to run for office. They'd have the debates, and they wouldn't even go on Meet the Press. But now I feel like everybody has a camera, so it's all over the place. I think the landscape of it has changed. All I can say is, personally, I'd never do it. I'd never have somebody come on who's running for president. Not with my intellect. I'm not going to sit there and be like, so what's your foreign policy? I'd be like, within 3 minutes, dude, what's your favorite Super Bowl? And then people would watch it and go, I like that Super Bowl too. I'm going to vote for that guy. It's just so far behind my wheelhouse. Somebody once said to me, Bill, you're a really smart guy. And I go, yeah, in a sports bar. You put me in a sports bar and you want to talk to me about 70s and 80s sports, I'm scoring very high. You put me in that forum where I have to interview somebody who's going to run for president. And then as the sports bar guy, you're going to say, yeah, this guy did go to summer school a lot. Matt Rife, you're the youngest comedian to sell out 2 nights at Madison Square Garden. Any thoughts? Billboard was curious. Rife said a lot of times these kind of accomplishments and accolades are hard to process in the moment because everything's been happening so fast. A lot of the shows have broken records at venues, and I go, oh, that's really cool, but not until 2 or 3 months later to go, wow, that happened. When you're first starting out on an open mic, the dream is the Garden. So to get to play it twice, sold out before the age of 30, it meant everything to me. I'm so grateful for my fans, my team, my friends, and my family, and everybody who's helped me get to this point right now. It feels very surreal. You know, I know it's trendy to hate on Matt Rife, but his special is funny, and every interview I read with him, he seems like he's a cool guy. Sorry if he looks nice and that makes some people annoyed. He's got a thing going on. Doesn't seem like a jerk. Man, how would you grade your garden run? He said, oh, that's a tough one. I'm going to give them both an A. Not A+, but A. I really had a good time at those shows, and I felt like the audience did as well. That's not always the case. Sometimes I feel like the crowd had a good time, and I didn't. For some reason, they're bringing back T.J. Hooker. Remember that one? The other William Shatner show? He was a policeman, ran from 1982 to 1986. Netflix is bringing it back. The thought is it'll be kind of a goof the way 21 Jump Street was. Not sure why we're making that, but okay. Chance the Rapper is finally putting out his album Starline, and he said he got advice from Dave Chappelle, who said to approach the project as representing a moment in time. Chance said Dave told him rap albums, they're like yearbook photos. It's not the full story of who you are. It's just who you are in the moment. It's important to take that snapshot and put it out there so you have documentation of what that moment felt like. The album will be out August 22nd. Out today, early access on the 800-pound gorilla, T.J. Miller's The Philosophy Circus. T.J. Miller recently spoke to the Spokesman Review in Spokane. He gave them the business about what they named their restaurants. He said the city's like a functioning alcoholic with restaurant names like 24 Taps Burgers and Brews, or Soulful Soups and Spirits. T.J. said, do you understand that looks insane to anybody who doesn't live here? You don't seem to. You're totally okay with it. He shared a conversation he had with Amy Schumer. Amy asked TJ if he was working on a special. TJ said, I think one's coming together, but that's not my directive because I like improvising. He asked Amy if she was working on a special. She said, no, I'm just trying to love the time that I'm spending with the audience. Miller said, I thought that was wonderful. You're never going to see me and go, well, I guess I'll see all this online. Everybody's going to leave and go, wow, that was just for us. He says he wants every night of his current Crowd Sorcerer tour to feel like that. TJ says, my whole focus is trying to keep it light now more than ever. More importantly, I'm trying to have the audience walk away every single show saying, no one's ever going to see that. That was very, very unique. I understand what you mean there, but things cannot be very unique. They're either unique or not. Pet peeve of mine. We are getting long here, all right? So I'm kicking 4 stories to tomorrow. Let's talk about the trailer for The Paper, the Office semi-spinoff. People seem to like it. I'll be honest, I didn't make it to the end of it. Let me tell you about it. The Paper is a mockumentary from Greg Daniels and Michael Corman set in the same universe as the U.S. Office, which I guess is set in the same universe as the U.K. Office, right? Because we saw Ricky in the hallway. Anyway, the documentary crew that made the Dunder Mifflin documentary, now they're at a newspaper, a Toledo newspaper called The Truth Teller. I kind of hate that they called it The Truth Teller and not like the Toledo Tribune, Toledo Sun, Toledo News Gazette or something. The Truth Teller just seems hacky to me, but okay. Domhnall Gleeson, you remember him? He was the cartoonish villain in the Star Wars sequels. Not Kylo Ren, the other guy that worked for the Empire. Well, Gleeson's doing an American accent as Ned Sampson, who's hired as the struggling paper's new editor-in-chief. We see a trailer. It looks a lot like the UK Office, the way it's shot and even the font they're using. It feels like The Office. The co-lead, I forget her name. It's the woman who worked the desk at the Italian season of White Lotus. A lot of the jokes are coming, at least in the trailer, coming from her not speaking English as well as maybe somebody else does. That's not my kind of humor. I don't hate this thing. I'm sure I will watch it, but I also didn't make it to the end of the trailer, so I wasn't like, oh my goodness, this is great. I also don't understand what Peacock is doing with it. I've talked about this before. It'll premiere September 4th with 4 episodes on Peacock up against the night one of NFL. And it's not like you can't watch it later, but I'm pretty sure there's an NFL game the first Friday as well. I feel like the Chiefs or somebody are in Brazil. And then Sunday, of course, is all NFL. So I don't know why they put it there. It might get lost. And then they're doing 2 episodes every Thursday through September 25th, and then we're done. So even if this thing is like, oh, have you seen the paper? It's amazing. It'll be come and went in 3 weeks. Why would you do that? Why don't you just put out one a week for 10 weeks and get some water cooler going? Yeah, no, I guess not.
Gossip Corner, whispers in the street. Gossip Corner, probably about Pete. Gossip Corner, where the rumors meet with Johnny Mac. It's always a treat. Gossip Corner, whispers in the street. Gossip Corner, probably about Pete. Gossip Corner, where the rumors meet with Johnny Mac. It's always a treat.
Thank you, AI Songmakers. On Gossip Corner from the Daily Mail, we found out how much money Jimmy Carr is making. They say accounts filed at Companies House have revealed that his firm R&I Futures Limited made £4.8 million in the year to September 2024. I'm not sure the structure of that sentence, what exactly that means. But whatever the timeline, £4.8 million. The Daily Mail says Jimmy set the company up 2 years ago and is earning nearly £100,000 per week. Not bad. Good news, too. Last One Laughing, which I loved, is coming back for a second season. Jimmy said, I'm so pleased. People had as much fun watching the first season as we had making it. Can't wait to bask in the reflected glory of the next 10 comedy legends taking on the challenge. Speaking of Jimmy Carr, on the 14th, Jimmy Carr Laughing and Joking is on the 800-Pound Gorilla's YouTube channel at 7 Central. That's cool. Now, as people have been saying, as you know, Jay Leno is the worst person in the world because he had an opinion on late-night television. Yeah, what a terrible guy Jay Leno is, which makes it even more shocking that he raised $70,000 for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center. The donation came from Jay Leno's July 9th through the 12th performances at a brewery. Heather Hole-Strout is the executive director of the MLK Community Center and said, we are thrilled with this donation. Jay Leno, who, was the worst person in the world because he had an opinion on late night television. I mean, what does Jay Leno know about late night television, right? Jay Leno and Newport Craft presented an incredible opportunity for our community to support the MLK, and our community showed up in full force. The funds will support the center's food pantry and mobile food pantry, stock vegetables for the weekly Produce to the People program at the center. The money will also sustain wellness programs, including free yoga, chi, and cooking classes. Director Strout said, Jay, who, was the worst person in the world because he had an opinion on late night TV. And who's Jay Leno to talk about hosting an 11:30 show? What does he know about it? Jay gave his time and talent for 4 sold-out shows. Jay Leno doesn't just live in Newport, he shows up for Newport. This generosity will help in so many ways. It will help keep our food in our pantry and mobile food pantry and more stock veggies, etc., etc. I told you about that already. Nice job, Jay Leno. Friend of the show, Dan Bublitz Jr. and Big Laugh LLC have announced Live in Loveland, now streaming on Tubi, filmed at the To the Fives Taproom and Lounge. Dan said it's a great feeling knowing that a project that was filmed here in Loveland will be seen across the world. Words can't describe how good it feels to have a hand in highlighting comedy in Colorado and beyond. The comedy special features comedians Luke Gaston, who's a regular at the Comedy Fort in Fort Collins, Cam Kiernan, Thomas Nichols, who was a finalist at the Seattle International Comedy Competition, and, of course, friend of the show, Dan Bublitz Jr. Live in Loveland, available to stream free on the Tubi app. Nice job there. Hey, I've got a follow-up. That Michael Rappaport story I told you the other day, it turns out it was a beautiful day, and he went for a walk in the park and petted some golden retriever puppies and, had a great... Oh, no, it wasn't that at all. Bruce Ayers, who's the founder of the comedy club Stardome, which canceled Michael Rappaport's shows, told AL.com the venue had received a flood of messages and emails urging organizers to cancel said performance. Ayers says after discussions with Rappaport's management team and the Hoover Police Department, He decided the best thing to do was to cancel the show. He said, I'm not taking sides. I was just trying to book a comedy show. I didn't want a big protest outside, somebody getting hurt. I'm here to do comedy, make people laugh. There's nothing political about it in any way. I was just trying to put on a show. We had tickets for the show. There's some people that really wanted to come. It's just unfortunate the way it came down. And you know what? As I record this on Friday afternoon, it is like 79 degrees. The humidity is like 0 and the sun is out. So I'm going to wrap it up here because some other day it'll rain and I can tell you these other stories we didn't get to today. That's how the show is made. But check the clock. You got a full show and it's free. Well, unless you went to Apple Podcasts and clicked that banner that said uninterrupted listening, in which case you get this show and a bunch of others, including 5 Good News Stories, which I host, and Paranormal Aliens, that crazy guy. You get all those for free for $5 a month. So even if you only listen to Daily Comedy News, let's see, there's 31 days in August. So 5 divided by 31. So if you feel ripped off by today's show, if you're like, hey, man, I clicked that banner, I gave you $5, and today's show was only like 20 minutes long, what's going on with that? You were ripped off for 16 cents, and I apologize. 16 cents a day. I got to start using that math. I mean, in September, there's only 30 days, so the show will be even more expensive. But if you want to support the show, 16 cents a day? That's a great way to support the show. Is that math right? That doesn't sound right. Is that all it is? I'm not even doing a bit. 16 cents times 31 is $4.96. Okay, yeah. So it's like 16, let's call it 17 cents a day. Great way to support the show. Apple Podcasts, click the banner, uninterrupted listening. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.